Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, November 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are on the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:38 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:38 p.m. Jamaica time. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that this is going to be the last day that I say that when I actually convert the Eastern Daylight Time to Central Time, which most of us are on right now in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, well, in the Central Caribbean, because tomorrow, I believe the Eastern Standard Time, the whole time zones are going to be changed up in a sense. So we're going to be back on Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time here in Jamaica. Most of us are going to have to change the times on our computers for sure tomorrow back to Eastern Time. So we're going to be on the same time that Cuba is on. We're going to be on the same time that the East Coast of the United States is on in general. Either way, if you hear me mess up in the future regarding calculating the hours about 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later, I just bear with me. Definitely some amount of miscalculations are going to be taking place. But for tomorrow, when we're getting this update, it's going to be coming out at the precise time that it came out in Jamaica as well. But as of the latest update, we still have that code red, that area that has a high chance of development across the southwestern Caribbean. We can see that we have an area to the north of Hispaniola that has a low chance of development. And we can also see that we have subtropical storm Patty right there across the Azores Islands. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out the clouds associated with that area of low pressure that has a low chance of development to the north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. We can also make out the clouds associated with that area of low pressure that's trying to get its act together in the southwestern Caribbean to bring forth lots of rainfall to portions of Jamaica in the early part of the week. And we can see the clouds associated with subtropical storm Patty bearing down on the Azores Islands as we speak. If we take a look at the very latest regarding subtropical storm Patty, first of all, a close-up of what's taking place. We can see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the greens, the yellows, the oranges. Definitely some bad weather taking place across some of the islands right here. Showers, thunderstorms, strong winds, you name it. They're definitely getting nailed right now. And all of this is pushing eastward. So it's just going to be affecting more of the islands right here. As of the latest from the Hurricane Center, we can see that it is now packing maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. That would make it a tropical storm. Well, I guess it's closer more to a category 1 hurricane than to a tropical depression if it's packing 65 mile per hour winds. It is moving towards the east southeast at 18 miles per hour, so it's moving a bit quickly. It's expected to continue moving eastward, then pushing northward, and we see that it's expected to go back to a D that represents tropical depression status as it heads into sections of southwestern Europe for sure. If we take a look at what's happening regarding the area of low pressure to the south of Jamaica, we can definitely see those fast clouds pushing in from this direction, low level clouds, or the upper level clouds pushing in from that direction. And we can actually make out the low level steering somewhere in here pushing that direction. So we definitely have some kind of a broad spin in general in this era. Lots of showers and thunderstorms, and it's definitely trying to get its act together with most of the thunderstorms right here to the north of Panama and Colombia. And it's definitely going to be taking advantage of the very warm waters as it tries to push itself towards the north and then eventually make it into portions of Jamaica. And if we take a look at what these spaghetti models are showing regarding the tracks of this system, most of them from the EPS, that's the Euro ensembles, take it and push it more so towards the east and then curve it northward and then to the northwest, possibly missing Jamaica, as we see most of them do. Some of them taking it across Jamaica. We'll see how that plays out. The GFS ensembles right here doing somewhat of a similar track, some of them making it across Jamaica as well. But we're going to be looking at what both supercomputer models are showing regarding what's to take place. First, we're going to be looking at the Euro model right here. We're going to be focusing our attention on the timestamp at the top, and we're going to be looking at this part of the map right here that has all of the moisture, the greens, the yellows that represents up to 6 inches or more of rainfall. And we're just going to be going out to the next 96 hours. So as we go out in time, we see that as we head into Sunday, we still have some amount of rainfall, still plaguing portions of Jamaica. But look to the south, lots of darker greens, yellows in there as well. Definitely trying to get its act together right there to the north of Panama and Colombia on the Euro model. As we head into 6Z on Monday, which is actually 1 a.m. Look at that, definitely trying to tighten up, definitely trying to get its act together. We see an isobar, we see the deep moisture with the darker greens, the yellows right there. And as we go throughout the day on Monday into Tuesday, we start to see the system pushing in closely. This is what 6Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 a.m. We see it definitely getting closer and then definitely lashing the island. Lots of rain, showers and thunderstorms, possibly flooding by 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Tuesday. So we see what's taking place, and then by the end of the 96 hours, it should be right here across the waters to the south of Cuba, right there to the north of the Cayman Islands. But we're still gonna be getting in on some of the rainfall from that system affecting us. Let us take a look at what the GFS is showing. This is as of the 12Z run of the GFS. We just showed you the 12Z run of the Euro, so we're going to be looking at this afternoon's supercomputer models. We can see as we head into Sunday evening, this is 0Z on Monday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Sunday. We see all of the heavy rainfall to the south of Jamaica. Lots of dark greens, yellows, oranges, reds. We see the isobars definitely trying to get its act together as it pushes closer towards us. And then as it continues, we see what the GFS's 12Z run does. Takes it across Jamaica, maybe as a tropical storm. But the thing is, there are some differences regarding what the latest run of the GFS is showing compared to this 12Z run from earlier today. Because if we take a look at this latest run that just came out an hour ago, we see that the GFS is starting to cave to more of a weaker system like what the Euro was showing. That's what we like to see. We like to see the consensus. That's what we want. We want a weaker system because we know for a fact that if we get such a strong system with so many isobars, 989 millibars, as what the 12Z GFS was showing, it could definitely be a strong storm system, damaging winds, power outages, you name it. That's what we don't want. So we're glad that the latest GFS, the 18Z run that just came out, is showing more of a weaker system, the 1001 millibars, something similar to what the Euro has been showing all along That's what we want to see. So more than likely, it's just going to be more of a rainmaker than anything else. We see both the Euro and the GFS models showing the darker greens, the yellows, the oranges. It represents anywhere from 3 all the way up into what? Maybe 8 inches, 10 inches of rainfall. That's ridiculous rainfall, but we'd rather the rainfall than the windy conditions to cause power outages. And we know that regarding the rainfall, if it's too heavy in some spots, maybe bringing down trees, maybe some landslides, flooding in some areas that are susceptible to flooding. But we'll take it over the hurricane conditions or the tropical storm force winds for sure. And we know the next name on the list, if this develops, is Rafael. And maybe the other system that code yellow could get the name Sarah if it develops. As a matter of fact, let us see what the Hurricane Center is stating regarding these systems. So we already looked at Patty, but let's see what the Hurricane Center is stating as of their latest update on these systems. They've stated regarding the system to the north of Hispaniola, a trough of low pressure just north of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms and gusty winds. Slow development of this system is possible during the day or two, while it moves westward near the Greater Antilles. By early next week, this system is expected to be absorbed into the low pressure over the Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible during the next couple of days across the northern Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, eastern Cuba, and the southeastern Bahamas. And we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days as well as within the next 7 days. But what they've stated here for the other system, they've said shower activity associated with a broad area of low pressure over the southwestern Caribbean Sea remains disorganized at this time. Gradual development of this system is still expected, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next couple of days, while it moves generally northward to northwestward over the central and western Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible over portions of the adjacent land areas of the Western Caribbean, including Jamaica, Hispaniola, Cuba. And they've also stated that interest in the Western Caribbean Sea should monitor the progress of this system. And they also highlighted the fact that they're going to be sending a plane out into the system tomorrow to gather more data to insert into these supercomputer models so that we have a more accurate forecast. So we just saw what the supercomputer models are showing regarding what's expected, and we know regardless of it being named Raphael, we know that there's going to be a lot of rain, and the models have been consistent now for the past 2 days that all of, if not all of the rainfall or the most rainfall should be stretching all the way from Costa Rica and Panama like a river, stretching all the way into portions of the western peninsula of Haiti, southeastern Cuba, Jamaica, and the Cayman Islands. I mean, look at all of the dark reds, look at the purples, look at the pinks, look at the salmon colors. All of this is representative of anywhere from 2 all the way up to 7 or 8 inches of a rainfall. That is just ridiculous. And it's not only the Euro model that's showing that, but the GFS model is showing something similar. We even see some light shades of blues in there that represents up to 10 inches of a rainfall. And we know that in Jamaica we use millimeters rather than inches. But I have a nice little graphic right here that does the conversion. 10 inches of rainfall, that's 200 and maybe 250 millimeters of rainfall. Anywhere from 2 inches all the way up to 10 inches is anywhere from 50 all the way up to 200 millimeters of rainfall, and that can definitely cause life-threatening flash flooding in general. So Jamaica is definitely in for it. Keep in mind that these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now to Wednesday, November 6th. So we're in for a lot of rainfall across Jamaica before all is said and done. Definitely wrapping up the rainy season for us in general. Hopefully, it's nothing too bad. We don't want to hear anything about any loss of life or anything like that. So hopefully the public is paying attention. If I were you, I wouldn't send my child out on Monday to school at all. The system is definitely coming. I know how these Monday mornings can be. We can wake up Monday morning to sunny or fair weather, but the system is definitely on its way, and we don't want to be caught off guard or be caught in a situation where we're stranded at work or school because of the bad weather that is to come. It's definitely on its way, and as such, we have a severe weather alert in place from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. So hopefully we all take heed with all of this bad weather that is to come. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have that frontal system stretching all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the northeastern Caribbean. It has induced a trough into the northeastern Caribbean. And we see the other trough right here, that trough of low pressure between Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. We see a tropical wave right here across the southeastern Caribbean into portion of Venezuela. We see another tropical wave right here equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean. We see another frontal system right here across portion of the southeastern United States. A trough right here across Florida, and a ridge of high pressure to the east of all of that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. We can see the long string of clouds associated with that frontal system across the southeastern United States. We can see that long string of clouds associated with that other frontal system, reaching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portion of the northeastern Caribbean. Lots of traffic taking place right there to the north of Puerto Rico. You can see the broad area of low pressure right here across the waters to the far south of Jamaica. We can make out the clouds associated with that other tropical wave right here across the main development region. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, November 2, 2024. We stated I would have had some amount of rainfall on Saturday morning, and then we would have had some amount of rainfall on Saturday afternoon, and the main parishes, northern and southern parishes. That has been the pattern because of the persistent northeasterly flow across the island, and we've made mention of this several times. It's usually northern Jamaica in the night and in the morning, and then portion of southern Jamaica during the afternoon. But I've already stated that we can't rule out some of the rainfall from northern Jamaica spilling into especially some northern areas of some southern parishes, especially during the night or the early morning hours. And that was the case. Northern parishes in the morning, southern parishes during the afternoon. We know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening, we highlighted in the video that we posted this morning about the rainfall that was plaguing portion of northern Jamaica. And we highlighted the Cuban Doppler radar images that were posted at around 5:10 a.m. showing the greens and the yellows that represent an amount of moderate to heavy rainfall that was lashing portions of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney. We spoke about this. This is relief rainfall. They're definitely getting in a lot of rainfall. We saw the videos coming out of the flooding, the landslides, and there's more of that to come as we head into tomorrow. Then another post was made at around 10:36 a.m. highlighting the very clouds still bring overcast skies and isolated shores to section of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Some of this was spilling into portion of St. Andrew, section of northern St. Thomas at the time. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we see that another post was made highlighting the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing halfway through, and we're definitely getting in some light to moderate rainfall at the time. We can definitely make out the vehicles there with their windshield wipers on at around 1:30 p.m. Definitely getting on some rainfall. We see people walking with their umbrella as well. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for portions of the corporate area. during the afternoon hours. And it's not only halfway through that got rainfall, even got some rainfall into portion of St. Thomas, sections of Crossroads, Barbican got in some of the rainfall as well. And if we take a look at the final post that was made, even though this doesn't mean that this was the final post, that means that only those areas got rainfall. We still got on more rainfall in other spots, but this was the final post highlighting what was taking place across Jamaica for today. It was posted at around 2:55 p.m. still highlighting the clouds. I mean, look at the stream of clouds. Look at that northeasterly flow, very moist northeasterly flow, bring lots of rainfall to Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, and some of this was spilling into sections of southern Jamaica throughout the day. At that time, we saw some of the clouds bring some isolated showers to sections of St. Elizabeth for sure, and we even saw the sparkling yellow dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes as well. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can make out what was taking place. We were definitely getting on some amount of rainfall in my part of the island in St. Thomas. Some of these clouds coming down from the Blue and the John Crow Mountains for sure. Sections of St. Andrew getting in on some of the rainfall too. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images, we can make out the thunderstorms that were affecting sections of especially southwestern Jamaica at that time earlier today. And then we saw most of that pushing out towards the southwest. We're still getting in on some amount of rainfall across portions of the northern and eastern section of the island for sure. And if we take a look at the Barbican camera at around 12:41 p.m., we saw that it was definitely raining for sure. Some light to moderate rainfall, people in their vehicles trying to get about their business, windshield wipers on for sure. Rain definitely soaking the area. And as I've stated before, if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. We can even see the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, confirming the rainfall that was mainly affecting northern Jamaica, section of some southern parishes during the afternoon as well. And we see the geography definitely perfect. More so clear skies across section of Manchester today, so too Westmoreland, so too maybe Hanover. Most of the rainfall was confined to Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, section of St. Catherine, section of St. Elizabeth for sure. And we definitely have confirmation for some of this from some of our followers on our Twitter page right here. We had Kelly stating rainy and cold in Cooper's Hill, St. Andrew. Has been this way all day. We also have onto underscore netty underscore 89 stating we're getting some early morning showers in my area of St. Andrew. We also have no underscore 3343494 stating it rained heavily on Washington Boulevard with some very strong breeze. Even first love underscore Nisha stating wet up the whole of my clothes on the line, but girl live for this kind of weather. Then finally we had KYY or Kim Sue stating sunny in Mandeville, just to confirm that they were definitely missing out on the rainfall today, just like what we saw on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. Definitely in the clear for the most part. But we saw the final comment, I.am.camille.k.will stating raining on and off here in St. Catherine. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for those spots. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the weather nerd side of what's taking place right now, this is as of 0035 UTC. That's 35 minutes past the current hour. So this just came out at 7:35 p.m. So what, about 12 minutes ago, and we can definitely make out that we're still being plagued in some spots by some amount of rainfall. We see the whites, we see the blues represent rainfall affecting sections of St. Anne. Some of this rainfall affecting sections of some eastern parishes, maybe sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, Portland getting in on the mix. Let us match it to what we're seeing on the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. And the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery just came out at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, we can say Eastern Standard Time because the times haven't changed as yet. But tomorrow, we're going to be on the same time with the Cuban Doppler radar. So when it says 8:30 tomorrow, it's going to actually be 8:30 Jamaica time. That's what I was explaining at the beginning of this video. We're going back to Eastern Standard Time, and Cuba is already 1 hour ahead of us. So 8:30 p.m. like what it's showing here is actually 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time, considering that is 7:48 p.m. No, we can definitely make out the greens that represent some amount of rainfall, just as we saw on the infrared satellite image just now. The rainfall coming into portions of St. Thomas, Portland, section of St. Anne, section of Trelawney, section of St. James. We see some rainfall right there to the north coming in. We see that flow still coming in from the northeast, and there's still a lot more of that expected tonight into tomorrow. Even the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar Station imagery showing some amount of rainfall stretching all the way from the western peninsula of Haiti all the way down into portion of Jamaica. We can even make out some rainfall in the blues, and the greens represent some light to moderate rainfall affecting sections of eastern Cuba right there. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we do see some rainfall, some isolated shores right there to the south of Cuba, some rainfall right there to the southwest of the Cayman Islands as well. But regarding what's taking place right now on the Flat Bridge camp, we can see nothing taking place. People in their vehicles going about their business. The river is not in spate or anything like that. Think we can make out the fact that the road is a bit wet to indicate that we gotten on some amount of rainfall today for sure. But as of right now, it's definitely fair conditions, but who knows, maybe that could change later on tonight. Maybe some more rainfall that's affecting northern Jamaica could spill into sections of some southern parishes, and in turn bring more rainfall to the area right here. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on Sunday, so we're back on the real time. So it would have been 4 a.m. Now we're on 3 a.m. Temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we can see Jamaica right here in some gray colors for the most part, maybe some slight yellow colors on the western side of the island. That we know represents average to slightly above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November across Jamaica are about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius, 31.1 degrees Celsius, sorry. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And we know the drill. We have to always try our best to beat the heat with those tips. Check in on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioning. Avoid alcohol, caffeine. They can make you dehydrated. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated. Throughout the day, always drink lots of water. Put away the sugar drinks. Your body is made up of a huge percentage of water for a reason. Drink more water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. Alright, so let's just take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 1 p.m. on Sunday. So just like what I said, normally it would say 2 p.m. Now it's 1 p.m. So we're gonna be 1 hour ahead. Is it ahead or behind? Whatever it is, 1 hour for sure. So at 1 a.m., 1 p.m. sorry, we should be seeing that it should be clearing out. Definitely still clearing out across the Caribbean, North America, South America, Central America for sure. While all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across the main development region. We've been noticing that the more west the Saharan dust goes from Africa, the more it dwindles. That's what we like to see. We don't like it to be coming into our area with that vigorous plume that we know is represented by those darker shades of browns that we know can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. We don't want that at all. We know the Saharan dust is very good for, limiting the strength of these systems, but we'll definitely do without it for the time being. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're starting to see an increase in the wave heights right there to the north of Colombia, just to signal that the broad area of low pressure is starting to intensify in general. You see the purples that represent the 2-meter wave heights or more. We also see the purples right here where we have the trough, that area of low pressure to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. And that's because across those regions the winds are going to be strong. We see the yellows that represent anywhere from 25 to 30 knots. We see the broad spin right here to the south of Jamaica associated with that system trying to get its act together. We see the yellows to the north of Colombia. Definitely some strong southerly or southwesterly winds curving around, and it's all of this moist southeasterly or southerly flow. It's expected to bring a lot of moisture into portion of Jamaica within the next 72 hours. So get yourself ready, it's definitely coming. We can see the flow across the eastern Caribbean though, coming in more so from the east-southeast, curving northward into that other area of low pressure that's going to be right there to the north of Hispaniola by Sunday. If we take a look at the close-up of Jamaica regarding the wind forecast, yes, we're still going to be getting on more of a northerly kind of flow, but it seems to be more coming in from the east-northeast tomorrow, especially on the north coast. We see those bright greens, we see those yellows that represents anywhere from 20 to 25 knots. We see the flow on the south coast as well, looking more easterly than anything else. But we also see that we're going to be having the least amount of winds across sticking to some southern parishes. We know what usually takes place. The low-level clouds become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. That's where all of the air is going to be piling up in general for some afternoon convection, that diurnal convection in general. So look out for that afternoon rainfall if you're living in southern parishes for sections of that side of the island. But we can't rule out some morning rainfall, if not some night rainfall tonight into tomorrow for sections of northern Jamaica for sure. And with the upper level winds coming in from the southwest tomorrow, we can definitely look to favor more of the thunderstorm still plaguing portions of some northern parishes for sure. If we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, we can see that this map from the GFS, and this map from the Euro are showing 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be the exact time. I won't even say 11 p.m. So it's definitely right on track. This is 12 a.m. tonight. We see the blues that represent rainfall. That's going to be plaguing portions of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, section of St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew getting in on the mix. Keeping ahead to about 6 a.m. tomorrow, we see that it's going to be affecting northern Jamaica still. Both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that. GFS trying to give more of the rainfall to portions of St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, right there with the darker blues and the greens. Euro trying to incorporate most of the rainfall across most northern parishes. We'll see how that plays out. By 3 p.m. tomorrow, we see what's taking place. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. So there's no backtrack with the time, considering that we're back on Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We see that rainfall should be plaguing eastern, central, and western parishes for sure. So yes, the rainfall is still going to be plaguing northern Jamaica, but southern Jamaica too. So more than likely the forecast is going to be for eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this afternoon forecast. And then by 10 p.m. tomorrow, we still are going to be getting on more rainfall, still plaguing portions of eastern Jamaica and northern Jamaica. We see both the Euro and the GFS models in consensus with that forecast for sure. Even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus as it's going to be raining across the island tomorrow for sure, especially across the north coast where we see there's reds. The reds represents up to 1 inch of rainfall or more, especially considering that the rainfall is already taking place now across northern Jamaica. So we're in for a lot of rainfall within the next 24 hours. We see all of these colors that we can see that represents all of what we're seeing on the key on the right. Anywhere from the greens represents 0.2 of an inch of rainfall, all the way up to the red represents up to an inch or more of rainfall. So look out if you're living in, especially in northern Jamaica. And we'll definitely take the rainfall. We're in the month of November. We're starting to taper off in terms of the usual rainfall that we usually get. Remember, in October is the wettest month of the year. Maybe some of this rainfall could definitely plague us into the month of November. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall, which is actually what? About 2 inches of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month. That's around what? 125 millimeters of rainfall. So we'll definitely take it. We need the rainfall to keep the water in our pipes and to cool down the temperatures. Don't need the floods or anything like that at all. Just to keep water in our pipes and cool down the temperatures. And we'll definitely take that. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall, you can visit this website. That's weatherandclimate.com. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that does the conversions from inches to millimeters for you. You can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we still have a lot of clouds, bring some thunderstorms to a portion of the northeastern Caribbean, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, anywhere from Barbados northward, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, section of St. Kitts and Nevis, Martinique. We can see the rainfall coming into portion of the southern Bahamas, sections of Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, section of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela getting in on the mix as well. And if we take a look at what's taking place across the northeastern Caribbean in terms of the Doppler radar images, we can definitely see some rainfall in and around the islands, still plaguing portions of the US and British Virgin Islands right now. Not so much Puerto Rico right now, but if we load these images from earlier today at around after 2, we can definitely make out some rainfall that was affecting portion of especially southern and eastern Puerto Rico. We can see some rainfall affecting the eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. Guadeloupe definitely got nailed today, so too did Martinique. The waters to the east of Dominica. If we take a look at the latest Barbados radar, we can make out most of the rainfall to the north and the east of Barbados. Some of that rainfall heading into section of St. Lucia right now, so too Martinique. The rainfall to the east of Dominica and Guadeloupe as of right now. Regarding what's taking place on the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right there across section of northwestern Venezuela, section of Colombia, section of Nicaragua getting on the mix. We see some isolated showers coming into portion of the Yucatan Peninsula, northern Guatemala, Belize, section of Honduras getting in on some of the rainfall too. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we're starting to see the heavy rainfall taking shape to the south of Jamaica, to the far south of Jamaica that is, to the north of Colombia. Look at the purples, look at the pinks, and all of this is starting to get ready to push north and curve right into Jamaica. So this is where all of the rainfall will be within the next 24 hours from now till the end of the day on Sunday, and more than likely it's going to be pushing up more so as we head into Monday to affect us here in Jamaica for sure. We can also see some rainfall in store for portion of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, section of the Turks and Caicos, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, section of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands getting on the mix as well. We see all of what these colors represent on the key on the right, anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall in some spots. So to section of the Leeward Islands, section of Martinique, St. Lucia, the Barbados area. We see some rainfall in store for sections of the ABC Islands, Venezuela, Colombia. We see some rainfall also in store for sections of Costa Rica. Some rainfall for Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, and even Guatemala. Even portion of the Cayman Islands getting in on the mix. And the thing is, we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that all of these regions are going to be getting on that rainfall. We see the consensus, we see the agreement on both maps for each of these areas that were mentioned. And we know that when both maps are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.